9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Tuning in to GB News.
They shape our programmes. We try and incorporate them in our shows as much as we can.
Our audience are really interactive.
Our listeners, our viewers, they're growing.
And that's because they tell their friends and family about what we're doing here at GB News.
It feels like the depth of that connection has strengthened as well.
Thank you so much for speaking to us on GB News.
Come and say hello to everybody that's here from GB News.
It's been an exceptional event.
We've come a long way here now.
What's so unique about GB News viewers is that they really, really love our country.
And they talk about us so proudly. We're on a journey together.
We are here for all of Britain. We believe in this country, we believe in its people, and we believe in all of the communities who live here.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning, it's 9:30 on Tuesday the 26th of May. Live across the United Kingdom, this is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Catherine Forster. And I've forgotten the autocue.
Just chat amongst yourselves while we work out what we're doing. Well, it is hot, hot, hot.
Good morning. It's going to be another potentially record-breaking day across the UK today. Temperatures once again reaching the mid-30s. Find out all the details with me a little later.
May Day sizzle. Britain bakes as London hits a blistering 34.8 degrees centigrade. That's 95 Fahrenheit if you're old-fashioned like me. And today things are going to get even hotter.
Well, after a long weekend of scorching weather, today could be another record breaker. I'm here on Leon Solent as people are already prepping to soak up the sunshine.
Online toxic threat. Top doctors warn that social media is as bad for young people as smoking.
The tech giant's targeted. Have we heard this before? Bereaved families meet the Prime Minister today, calling for a sweeping social media ban for under-16s.
By embezzling from the SNP, Peter Murrell was stealing the hopes, the dreams and the aspirations of thousands of people all over Scotland.
SNP cash scandal. Nicola Sturgeon is told to come clean over what she knew about her husband embezzling £400,000 from the party. Manuel from Fawlty Towers, anyone?
I know nothing. What? I know nothing.
And small boats surge. A total of 980 illegal migrants across the Channel this bank holiday weekend. Are we about to smash the 1,000 barrier?
Today, the government cracks down on hidden childcare fees in nurseries for things like nappies and sun cream.
And missing work ethic, the Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden, claims the death of the paper round is helping to fuel the youth unemployment crisis. I had a paper round. Did you have a paper round?
I didn't, but I worked in Dylan's bookstore and Athena, which was the trendiest, like cards and posters. A Saturday job from when I was 16, and I loved it so much. Got £11 a day, which shows you how long it is. What would be £11 an hour now, wouldn't it?
I had lots of jobs. I did paper round, then I worked in the newsagents, then I worked in the greengrocers, 20p an hour, I seem to recall. And I also flogged lottery tickets for Swindon Town Football Club. I used to take them around to people's houses. So by the time I started work, aged 18, after 2 weeks after I'd done my A-levels, I had a nice little nest egg in the bank, which was quite good. Yeah. And it got me the work ethic good and proper.
I had a lot of summer jobs when I was, home from university. The worst one I ever had was working at a frozen chip factory, unpacking bags and putting them frozen chips into a big sort of...
What a boring job.
It was nasty. Also, a lot of toilet cleaning, litter picking at theme parks. Yeah.
These kids, you see, these kids. I think the Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden's got a point, because the paper round was a rite of passage for lots of people, wasn't it?
It's harder to get these jobs now, though. Harder to get these jobs, but my sons do lifeguarding at the local pool, and that's quite a good one.
Anyway, we would love to hear what you think. Send your views, post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/you'll say. First 60-second news update with Tatiana Sanchez.
Thank you very much. The top stories. Bereaved parents of young people who have died because of links to social media will meet with the Prime Minister in Downing Street today, urging him to ban social media for under-16s. According to the most senior doctors, social media use ranks with smoking as a threat to the health of young people. Thousands of foreign criminals convicted of the most abhorrent offences have been removed from British soil as part of the government's drive to ramp up removals of those with no right to be in the UK. It comes as nearly 70,000 migrants have returned since this government came into power. Forecasters are warning temperatures could reach 35 degrees in parts of England today as a record-breaking heatwave continues. On Monday, the UK recorded its all-time highest May temperature as part of London reached 34.8 degrees. And police have said a 13-year-old boy has died after getting into difficulty in a West Yorkshire reservoir on Bank Holiday Monday. A spokesperson said the boy was pulled from the water and taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. It says a dive team has recovered the body of a 15-year-old boy who went missing after getting into a lake in Lincoln. Those are the latest headlines. More at the top of the hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Well, hello and welcome. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom on GB News with Andrew Pearce and Catherine Forster.
Well, it was hot yesterday, but God above, it was hot last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sleeping, not easy.
It was really difficult. I had a fan literally perched at the bottom of my bed. I had no sort of bedding, but just a duvet cover sort of in the middle of the night. But it was baking, not helped by the fact that my dog chose to sort of come and sleep like right up next to me. Probably shouldn't talk about having dogs on the bed, but anyway, it's a contested issue. Lots of people were it's just like, get away from me, you're too hot. Anyway, she ended up on the floor, but yeah. I didn't have much sleep, did you?
Well, I just slept under a sheet, so and that was all right. But I did something I shouldn't really have done. I had a large vodka. I didn't finish it.
Is that a regular thing that you do it? I don't think vodka is a bedtime drink.
Well, I just thought some alcohol might help me,
So,
numb the
helps
senses.
You go to sleep,
yeah.
Supposedly wakes you up, but you slept through? Not really.
No, I woke up at 10 to 4, thought, oh, no, but I got straight back to sleep.
That's all right.
But it is stifling, and it is still hot today, so I'm not going to give you those warnings. We don't need to infantilise the country, but just be careful. Sunblock and a hat.
Sunblock and a hat, yeah. It's... I've realised we've only got one bottle of sun cream in the whole house, so My son put like a tinted moisturiser on yesterday and went out thinking it was going to protect him, but needless to say, he's a bit pink.
I put sunblock on every day of the year, even in the winter.
On my face. On my face I do.
Yeah.
Nearly all the lines come from the sun, don't they?
They do.
Nearly all the lines.
They do. Now, moving on, the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges is today warning social media ranks with smoking as the threat to the health of young people. Now, that's pretty draconian warning when you consider around 80,000 people a year die from smoking-related diseases.
Yeah. Well, the medics request that doctors should routinely ask about screen time and social media use when seeing younger patients to ensure that they're not being impacted by harmful content.
So smoking killing roughly £80,000 a year. Is it right to compare the two? I think it's perhaps too draconian. It's too extreme a comparison, but I get what they mean. They just don't... If people start smoking young, they get hooked. And if people get on this social media young, they get hooked.
Yeah, because it's so very addictive. And, of course, the social media giants don't let their kids on all the things that they've invented, do they? Yeah, no. But it's different for our kids. But anyway, psychotherapist Lucy Beresford joins us now. Lucy, obviously, the internet, social media, very beneficial in many, many ways. But do you think that we've been asleep at the wheel with the risks to children?
Yes, I do. I think the analogy with smoking is a bit complicated because nobody needs to smoke, whereas social media in and of itself isn't a bad thing and it can be incredibly useful. So the analogy for me that would be better would be to say it's the equivalent of overeating, in the same way as you have to educate yourself about how to eat healthily because you can't just stop eating if you have a disordered eating pattern. Then similarly with social media, you have to understand how to use it. The problem is that the adolescent brain is changing so dramatically, and it's changing in ways that make their use of social media very difficult. So the part of the brain that changes the most during adolescence is what we call the prefrontal cortex. That's a geek term for the executive functioning of the brain. The part of the brain that says, that's very dangerous, that's quite risky, you probably don't want to do that, you have poor impulse control. But that part of the brain is diminished during adolescence. So it means that when adolescents use social media, they don't have that inner handbrake saying, well, I don't think I should be spending 6 hours doom scrolling. I don't think I should be going down this rabbit hole. In fact, the brain is actually making it harder for them. So a ban like this would be incredibly useful.
And of course, we know, Lucy, that there's been a consultation period on what action the government should take to try to protect our young people, which I think could end at midnight tonight. Do you want to go down the Australian route, Lucy, and say that no children under the age of 16 should be able to have any access to social media?
I would like that to be the case. In fact, I'm someone that would like everything to be raised to 18. I think it would be really important if we could encourage people to not smoke, drink, have sex, vote, join the army, also use social media until they were 18, because I think the brain isn't really capable of assimilating that kind of information. The problem with a ban is that, as they saw in Australia, it's been very easy to get round it. It's been very easy to use a phone that's registered with a sibling who is much older than you, or the research has shown that actually fully 30% of children under the age of 16, after the ban came into use in Australia, have said they have still accessed social media. But we as grown-ups also need to model better interaction with our phones in order to model better behaviour for our kids, for our adolescents, for the teenagers in our life. And if we're overusing our phones, then young people are going to look at us and think, well, you're such hypocrites. Why do we have to do that?
Well, I must admit that I get a thing on my phone that tells me that I've spent about 7 hours a day on it on average.
Do you really?
I would like to say in my defence that I use it constantly for work. But what sort of tips would you give to parents, Lucy, trying to control their kids' social media? Because it's very difficult, isn't it? As soon as they've got a smartphone, when you were just sitting in the lounge watching one telly, it was easy to know what they were doing, what they were watching, but once they've got a phone in their pocket or in their bedroom, it's so difficult. And also, they're so smart at getting around all of these controls, putting stuff in private mode. I mean, I try to make sure that my kids' phones are downstairs at night, but it's really hard, isn't it?
It's hard, but it's not impossible, and that's what being a parent is all about. It's about navigating those issues where you'd much rather be your kid's friend, but actually you need to be the Uber parent, and you say no phones at meal times, no phones after 7 o'clock. And if more parents behaved like that, then it would be easier. But the problem is you'll always be accused, as I often said to my parents, you are the strictest parents in the village, because everybody else is allowed to look at their phones and you don't want to be the odd one out. So parents have that conflict. They don't want their children to be ostracized. They don't want their kids to be the only ones not on social media. And yet they also want to protect them. So I think it is about having those sleep hygiene and tech protocols in place that you as a family subscribe to, not just the adolescents, but also the grown-ups. No phones after 7 o'clock or before 7 o'clock, which is really hard when you've got a 24/7 job. But if you can model that for your kids, it's much easier.
It's just sad, Lucy, though, that governments around the world are wrestling with these issues, because the social media giants should have a duty of care and responsibility, which I'm afraid they don't. Because if they did behave properly, we wouldn't even need to be having this debate. They would be protecting young people from some of this awful stuff they can now access.
But that's not the thing that motivates them. The only thing that motivates the tech giants is their revenue and their income, and they get that from advertising and they get that from subscriptions. So until they are penalised in a way that they can really understand financially, then this will never change, because they have no incentive to change.
No, you're right. Lucy Bereford, psychotherapist, thanks so much for joining us. That is the problem, isn't it? They're making so much money. Why should they change anything?
They really are. And I mean, I remember interviewing Molly Russell's father years ago. And
she was a little girl who took her own life.
She took her own life. She'd seen horrific sort of self-harm content, which, you know, the court eventually found had influenced the fact that she'd taken her own life. Now, he doesn't want a ban because he thinks that it's a blunt instrument and that basically, first of all, kids will get around it, as we've heard that they are doing in Australia. They've had this ban for a year. And also that it sort of lets the social media giants off the hook. They should be making sure that this stuff is not on their platforms, because they are publishers. When you think of the hoops that we have to jump through, the content that we can and can't put out, how strictly regulated we are, ditto with the papers, and yet it is like the Wild West on the internet.
Certainly is. Now, Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, has said it wants age verification to be handled on a device level, so underage children will be blocked from downloading certain apps. There you have it.
Yeah, right.
Still ahead?
Well, did you have a Saturday job? Did it instill you with a work ethic? Work and Pensions Secretary Pat McFadden says that the death of the paper round is fuelling youth unemployment.
And up next, we are still roasting in this glorious sunshine. In some parts, it could reach over 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So get your sun cream on.
But if you're in search of some holiday sun instead, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations, which are probably not as hot as it is here.
Certainly not as hot as here.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The heat wave continues across much of Central and Western Europe in particular. Lots of hot sunshine to come over the coming days. Temperatures close to 30 Celsius across the Canaries. Sunny spells here. Hot sunshine for Spain and Portugal. Perhaps 1 or 2 thunderstorms in the evening times. The risk of 1 or 2 showers. Southern parts of Italy across to Greece and into Turkey. But temperatures still on the hot side and staying hot over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Today is Victory in Europe Day. Hostilities will end officially at 1 minute after midnight tonight, Tuesday, the 8th of May.
This historic proclamation by Winston Churchill was a moment for the nation to rejoice. Celebrations were held across Europe to mark the end of the Second World War. 81 years on, VE Day is commemorated. At Deangate Care Home in Barnsley, a special party was held to honour those who helped defeat the Nazis all those decades ago and to thank veterans at the home.
We are a veteran-friendly home, and I like to showcase all of our veterans at any time of the year, and VE Day is just a perfect reason, really, to really put them on a pedestal and show everybody how good our veterans are and the local community is. We should be so thankful for what they've done.
For the veterans here, the sacrifices of those who gave their today for our tomorrow should never be forgotten.
The main thing is that my father's medals, which I wear on my right side, is just a tribute to him and that he served all the way through the Second World War. And, of course, myself, when I served 22 years afterwards.
I think it was vital that they remembered this VE Day and, you know, that we carried it on.
Their dad was the only one left out of 5 in that tank. So he was injured in there, and he was in the 8th Army under Montgomery's division.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB Newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, it's 10 to 10. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News. Let's see what you've been saying. Thank you for getting in touch.
Are they all up and bothered?
Well, one saying, lap this glorious weather up, folks. This is Moira. We're not usually complaining that it is too warm. Very, very true. And it says, one friend says, well done, Andrew, making mistakes and laughing about it. The human side of GB News.
I lost the autocue.
What a start. What a start we got off to.
Good sprint across the studio.
Leslie has got, oh, this is a good tip. An old-fashioned way of staying cool at night is to fill a hot water bottle with water from the fridge, even putting a couple of ice cubes in. Oh, there's one about dogs on beds.
Yes, because Catherine, what's your dog called?
Autumn. She's a red cockapoo.
Autumn. Autumn got into bed with you yesterday. So Wendy says, I'm totally with you, Catherine. My dogs always sleep on the bed, and I don't care what anybody thinks. Mine are teeny Yorkies. Well, the cockapoo's not enormous.
She's sort of, I don't know, when I woke up this morning, she's literally on her back with her legs akimbo.
What would you do if it was a Labrador? That'd be too heavy.
Not on the bed, not on the bed. But anyway, how are you keeping your pets cool?
Yes, and if you've got any lovely photographs, do send them in. We'll give you the address where to send them. Because Britain has recorded its hottest ever May Day. Temperatures have hit almost 95 degrees Fahrenheit in London. And today doesn't seem to be cooling down anymore, anytime soon. Westminster is basking in glorious sunshine.
Well, GB News reporter Isabel Fekulak has taken a trip to the beach to soak up some of that glorious sunshine. And she joins us from Lee on the Solent. Good morning, Isabel. How hot is it there and who have you got with you?
Good morning, sorry. I'm here with Philip, who is from the Coast Watch, because of course this has been a beautiful weekend of scorching weather, but with that comes some risks, and very, very sadly, over the bank holiday weekend, 2 kids have lost their lives in the sea. So here to tell us about staying safe in the sea, Philip, just how important is it that people know what precautions they should take when going into the sea in weathers like this?
It's very important, but people underestimate just how bad the waves can be. You could get carried out into the sea. So we at the Coast Watch, which is about 60 organisations in the country, we look out for everybody on the beach, or whether they're on paddle boards or kayaks. And we send out water safety leaflets to families to let them know just how tricky the conditions can be. Because there's nothing worse than seeing a child on a paddleboard being swept out, and there's nothing we can do. So we would monitor all of these situations, and if there are any problems, we can get involved with the Coast Guard or the local the gaffers just around the corner, and they can send ribs out to sort of intercept and help. But the trouble is we've got the long shipping lanes out there, and the last thing you want to do is people get swept out. The tides are so unforgiving, really, that you don't know where they're going.
Yeah, of course, it's been such a long weekend where it's been very, very busy. So just tell me very quickly, how busy has it been on the beach here?
I was absolutely manic yesterday. The car park was rammed. People couldn't find any spaces. The beach was absolutely packed solid, and there were so many people out in the water. It's so difficult to sort of keep an eye on individual people.
Thank you so much, Philip, for coming on and talking about water safety. Of course, if you're out there enjoying the sun, just make sure you stay safe. It's going to be another scorcher today, potentially record-breaking.
All right, Isabel, thank you, Isabel Fekilak in by the English seaside, where it's scorching hot. Still ahead, almost 1,000 illegal migrants have crossed the channel over the bank holiday. With the great weather upon us, are more inbound? Are we going to break that 1,000 barrier? This is Britain's Newsroom, Britain's favourite morning show on GB News, with Andrew and Catherine.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's going to be another very hot day for parts of England and Wales today. Most of the country seeing plenty of sunshine, and that heat may give way to a few thunderstorms later this afternoon. So out there, first thing this morning, we do have some cloud across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles of rain here. But for England and Wales, a sunny morning, and that's going to give way to another very warm, if not hot, afternoon to come, especially across the far south of the country. Could see highs again reaching 34 or 35 degrees. A very exceptional spell of heat for the time of year. A little bit fresher further north, so a bit more comfortable here with temperatures reaching the low 20s. Into this evening, as I mentioned, we could potentially just see a few thunderstorms break out, but I think most of us remaining dry across the south with some plenty of late evening sunshine, and a fairly quiet evening to come across Northern Ireland and Scotland too, although we could continue to see some cloud across eastern Scotland, and that may again just give the odd spit and spot of rain. Overnight, very little changes. The cloud across eastern Scotland will spread its way a little bit further south to encompass parts of northern England. But for most of us, it's a fairly quiet night. Under the clear skies, we may just see the odd fog patch form, but especially across the south, another very warm night to come. Quite uncomfortable to sleep for some of us, but a little bit fresher further north, so certainly a bit more comfortable to sleep across Scotland. Into Wednesday, we will see a change in the east on Wednesday, picking up a bit more of a breeze here, so temperatures certainly much lower here compared to recent days, and that may again trigger the odd shower. The cloud across eastern parts of Scotland and northern England will gradually work its way back towards the coastline as the day goes on, with the best of the sunshine out towards the western half of the UK. And it's here where we see the highest of the temperatures. Again, we could see low 30s across the southwest, but certainly a little bit fresher down towards the southeast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. No delays affect the M25 anti-clockwise at junction 14 or the M1 southbound exit slip at junction 29. The A5 at Menai Bridge is closed in both directions due to an incident with diversions in place. Westbound on the M62 near Bury is restricted due to a broken down vehicle. Northbound on the A34 between the M4 and the A4185, delays of 1.5 hours affect traffic due to a collision, with one of 2 lanes closed. On the trains, major disruption occurs at Cardiff Central, with issues between Manchester Piccadilly and Newton Le Willows. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
£76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash could be yours this summer. That's totally tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. And remember, because it's totally tax-free cash, you'll get to keep every single penny. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock on Tuesday the 26th of May. Live across the United Kingdom, this is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Catherine Forster.
Well, it's a real scorcher out there this morning.
Good morning. It's going to be another potentially record-breaking day across the UK today. Temperatures once again reaching the mid-30s. Find out all the details with me a little later.
May Day sizzle. Britain bakes in the sunshine, and today things are going to get even hotter. And of course, those woke amber and yellow heat alerts remain active across England. Jack Carson has his shades on.
Well, I mean, I get the best jobs, really, don't I? Here in Weston-super-Mare and across the rest of the country, it is absolutely scorching today. We're having a fun day at the seaside.
Online toxic threat. Senior doctors warning social media is as bad for young people as smoking.
And tech giants targeted. Bereaved families meet the Prime Minister today calling for a sweeping social media ban for under-16s.
Oh, we're on for another Keir Starmer U-turn. He wasn't in favour of banning social media for under-16s, but now he might be.
And the SNP cash scandal rumbles on. Nicola Sturgeon, the former First Minister, told to come clean over what she knew about her husband embezzling £400,000 from the party. We're going to tell you how much he spent on pepper and salt grinders. Make your eyes water.
And today, the government cracks down on hidden childcare fees in nurseries for things like nappies and sun cream.
So can we explain the missing work ethic for our young people? Pat McFadden, the Work and Pension Secretary, thinks he can. He blames the death of the paper round.
Yeah, of all the things that Peter Murrell bought, the thing that gets me most of all is £2,600 on salt and pepper grinders. Now, they were Lalique, which is a very, very fancy sort of French glass company, but even so, I mean, yeah, it just beggars belief. And this was going on for 12 years. Yeah. 12 years.
Yeah. And the First Minister didn't say, they're a bit fancy. Can we afford those?
And the Jaguar.
And the Jaguar parked outside, £81,000. And the VW Golf car, £34,000. He wasn't on that big a salary.
Yeah, £125,000 on that camper van. But that was parked on his mother's drive, but she was about 90.
And Sturgeon says she knew nothing about it till the police investigation.
Yes, and apparently it's now being reported that when she was interviewed by police, rather than fully cooperating, as she told us at the time, she basically was no comment.
The fact is,
her right to do that, but
as First Minister leader of the SNP, she should have known. She should have known that £400,000 had gone missing from a political party. It's a small party, doesn't get donations the way Tories and Labour do.
And she also has said on camera that there was no money missing, and also that all these things were absolutely properly audited. How could they have been? They clearly weren't. It's an incredible fall from grace, isn't it, when you think how powerful that couple were and pretty much ruled the roost in Scotland for years.
Well, they ran Scotland from 2014 completely, totally and utterly. And Joanna Cherry, who's the former SNP MP, made the point. She said she ran it with a vice-like grip. All the more reason you'd have thought she might have realised, where's all this money gone? Tell us what you think. Send your views, post your comments by visiting
GBNews.com, your say. But first, here is the news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Thank you very much and good morning. The top stories. Bereaved parents of young people who have died because of links to social media will meet with the Prime Minister in Downing Street today, urging him to ban social media for under-16s. According to the most senior doctors, social media use ranks with smoking as a threat to the health of young people. The Academy of Medical Royal Colleges says doctors should routinely ask about screen time and social media use when seeing younger patients. Technology Secretary Liz Kendall says new measures on social media for under-16s will be brought in by the end of the year as a consultation on the matter comes to an end. Opposition Assistant Whip Katie Lamb spoke to GB News.
Parents and of course bereaved parents especially are deeply worried and frustrated and upset at this issue, at how long it's taken. It's like with everything, it's important to get it right. It's important to get the enforcement mechanism right, and sometimes that can take a little bit of time. But there doesn't really seem to be any sense of urgency from this government to do absolutely anything whatsoever.
In other news, forecasters are warning temperatures could reach 35 degrees in parts of England today as a record-breaking heatwave continues. On Monday, the UK recorded its all-time highest May temperature as part of London reached 34.8 degrees. That figure, recorded in Kew Gardens, also surpassed the hottest bank holiday Monday on record at 33.3 degrees back in August 2019. The highest temperatures are expected in southeast England, while other areas in England and Wales will climb to the high 20s. In other news, police have said a 13-year-old boy has died after getting into difficulty in a West Yorkshire reservoir on Bank Holiday Monday. A spokesperson saying the boy was pulled from the water and taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. It's as the dive team has recovered the body of a 15-year-old boy who went missing after getting into a lake in Lincoln. Lincolnshire police had received reports of Declan Sawyer having difficulty after entering Swanholme Lakes at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon. Declan's father, Carl, has paid tribute to a funny and outgoing young man who loved his fishing and his football. The incident happened as extreme weather in the UK led to the hottest day in May ever recorded. Elsewhere, thousands of foreign criminals convicted of the most abhorrent offences have been removed from British soil as part of the government's drive to ramp up removals of those with no right to be in the UK. It comes as nearly 70,000 migrants have returned since this government came to power and as part of major reforms to the UK immigration system to remove the incentives attracting illegal migrants to the country. New figures published this week reveal nearly 100 murderers, 600 sexual offenders and 600 violent criminals are no longer on British soil. It says 800 thieves, 200 fraudsters and 2,300 drug offenders were removed in the last year. The US military said it conducted self-defense strikes on Iran yesterday, targeting a number of sites in the south of the country. US Central Command spokesman Captain Tim Hawkins said the targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to emplace mines. Hawkins said the move was to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. The former First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, Peter Murrell, has pleaded guilty to embezzling more than £400,000 from the Scottish National Party. Nicola Sturgeon has, of course, denied any knowledge or suspicion that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds. Scottish First Minister John Swinney expressed his personal horror on the issue.
This is an admission of a terrible breach of trust and an overwhelming betrayal by the man entrusted to be the party's chief executive. By embezzling from the SNP, Peter Murrell was stealing the hopes, the dreams and the aspirations of thousands of people all over Scotland, people who gave what they could over many years in the hope that it would help contribute to a better country. So today, I am horrified. I am betrayed. But I'm also resolute about the future.
Cabinet Office Minister Anna Turley has also weighed in. She spoke to GB News Breakfast.
It's gobsmacking, to be honest. I was really shocked to hear the scale of the money involved, this lavish spending. It's really quite shocking, and I think the SNP and Nicola have serious questions to answer. I don't know all the details. We don't know what she did or didn't know, but I think serious questions have to be asked because it's just not acceptable. You know, we're here for public service, and when these kinds of figures are, this kind of act is being undertaken, it's absolutely shocking. It brings all of politics into disrepute. They need some transparency and accountability, and there are some serious questions to be answered here.
Nicola Sturgeon has issued the following statement via her lawyers. She says, "I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds. She says I was cleared of any wrongdoing after a lengthy and thorough investigation." She goes on to say, in relation to many of the items in question, for example, expensive watches and games consoles, I was not aware of them having been purchased at all. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more from me at 10:30.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Well, those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more in half an hour.
We have been talking a lot about social media and the deadline for the consultation period, Catherine, as to whether the government is going to take action and potentially ban children under the age of 16 having any access expires at midnight tonight.
Midnight tonight. Of course, they've done this in Australia. It's been going about a year, and kids are very tech savvy, much more so than us, and they find ways around it. I mean, I suspect that the government is probably going to go for this, but let's see what our political editor, Chris Hope, has to say. The Prime Minister's meeting with bereaved families in Downing Street today, isn't he, Chris?
Yes, he is, because, of course, they're the group you have to listen most to this. It's a round table. Ian Russell, the daughter Molly, of course, died. Esther Jai, of course, Brianna Jai also died. So that's why he's doing that. We're looking at Australia quite closely, and it's a mixed picture on how the ban on under-16s looking at social media is working there. It's reported that, in fact, social media gets a lot more adult now because people think children aren't watching it. But the problem is, Catherine, as you know, with teenagers and others too, children get round bans by using what they call VPNs, which means they can pretend they're a different age or even say they're a different age altogether online. So whereas now there is a degree, you wouldn't believe it, but there's a bit of a break on what's on social media because everyone can see it. When you think children can't see it, it gets a lot more adult, a lot more quickly, and arguably more damaging to those who can get past the ban.
Now, Starmer was against a ban.
Yes.
Now I think, I mean, I know we like to call him Mr. U-turn, but he does U-turn a lot.
Sir U-turn to you, Andrew.
Exactly, Sir U-turn. So is he going to do it again?
Well, it looks like he's going towards that. Why else is he meeting with families in Number 10 today? The deadline for this consultation, they've had so far 70,000 responses, is midnight tonight. It looks like he may have one eye on his legacy. We've been here before with Tony Blair's legacy back in 2007.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? The whole document about the tour of Britain and the speeches. Theresa May, her legacy was, guess what? Net zero without a vote in Parliament. That target by 2050. Again,
shocking.
No vote by MPs ever since then. I've got to make that clear. And this could be his idea of cementing his view of politics. They all want to go down with a kind of a full stop on their time in government. Of course, Keir Starmer wants to fight on. He wants to fight any incomers for the leadership.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see how that goes.
What would Nicola Sturgeon's legacy be, Christopher?
That is fascinating because she's trying to make her way in the world as doing conversations, and you've got books out and the like. But I think it might go down as someone whose husband, I'll be careful there, whose husband took complete advantage of hard-pressed SNP members giving £10 or £20 to a cause they believe in. To Scots who believe in independence, it's like Brexiteers nationally across the UK. They believe in sovereignty above everything else. It's a passionate belief, and it's appalling that Peter Morrell got away with this embezzlement until he did. There'll be questions to answer. Why didn't people stop it? John Swinney, who appointed Morrell back in 2001 to be chief executive, why didn't he know more, ask more questions? The way that whistleblowers were ganged up on, shouted down, I think Joanna Cherry being a case in point. Yeah. It's a disgrace. You've got people like Joe McAlpine, SNP MP, gave £250 a month, I think, £35,000 from her salary to the SNP cause. That's a lot of money. She could afford it. Others couldn't. It's disgusting. There should be an internal investigation. And I think there'll be pressure today in the Scottish Parliament. We see John Swinney up to discuss something called Ambitions for Scotland, which I think is slightly sticking in the throat for so many SNP supporters. And again, as you said, I know nothing. Manuel from Fawlty Towers. Yeah. Did she know nothing? She says she knew nothing about all the scale of the items being bought. But the Jaguar car,
£81,000.
£81,000.
A £34,000 VW Golf. £2,600, which we find particularly gruesome.
The Lilique Salt and Pepper grinder.
Yes, the mother-in-law's new luxury motorhome on her drive. Yeah.
And now Nicola Sturgeon, as First Minister, was earning £165,000 a year. His salary, what I've read, was close to £100,000.
OK.
On £100,000, you could not be buying all those... No. Unless he was engaged in heavy hire purchase arrangements. But at one point, he loaned the Scottish National Party £100,000. It was probably the Scottish National Party's money.
I think people, it seems, that just couldn't believe someone could do this because everyone is so sanctified in the SNP movement for going towards this higher noble goal. No one could believe that someone would take money from the people supporting that. And these are hard-pressed people, £10, £20. They can't afford it, but they believe... You know, you might be wrong or right, but they believe in the idea of sovereignty, like Brexiteers about Brexit. It's just absolutely appalling. It's appalling.
I mean, Nicola Sturgeon is saying that, you know, they both had big jobs, they were extremely busy, that they didn't have holidays or really socialise, and that their finances were completely separate. But it does sound incredible, and more coming out now. So the Daily Record are saying that they have heard from 4 sources that Peter Morrell had stolen money from Alex Salmond's office. This is going way back to when he was an MP for Banff. And also, we're hearing, according to the Scottish Sun, that when Nicola Sturgeon was interviewed by police, and she came out later and she said, you know, absolutely cooperating fully, that her cooperation, I mean, as is her right, was basically just no comment.
No comment. That's fine, of course, and she says she has no idea of what was going on. But I think voters will look at this and go, I mean, it damages trust across the board. It also reminds me of so much of the MP expenditure scandal, Andrew, which we did back in the Telegraph in the day. Yeah. It's the detail. It is a complete insult to people who trust politicians to do right by them.
And also, the 3-year police investigation cost the Scottish taxpayer £2 million, Chris.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. A lot of police officers who should have been... white-collar crime is so complicated, they could have been engaged in perhaps fighting the terrible drugs problem they've got in Scotland. The worst drugs problem in the whole of Europe.
And dealing with maybe the education system, which has been failing, got fallen behind England, unbelievably, given that 20 years ago it wasn't.
And the whole time, Nicola Sturgeon's husband was laughing in the face of the Scottish people by trousering for
it looks like greed. No one needs £2,600 salt and pepper grinders. No one needs coffee machines worth £6,000.
Do you think you put them in the dishwasher?
Well, I wouldn't. Watches worth £4,500.
No, but my goodness.
And a watch nearly £5,000.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never owned a watch for nearly £5,000.
£5,700, we're told. A pencil sharpener for £110. I mean, this is again.
And toothbrushes, £500.
Yeah, money and a pencil sharpener, £110, a Smiths & tea set for £3,000. No one can believe that. I think that on the left of politics, people think that they almost do no wrong amongst them because they've got a higher cause. They're trying to deal with big issues. They're not like the dreadful Tories or the dreadful right of politics. But this shows it just is. Sometimes it can be across the board.
It stinks to high heaven.
It really does. It really does. And to think how Nicola Sturgeon was held aloft during COVID. Oh, look at Boris Johnson. Look at the car crash down
Nicola
south.
Sturgeon,
Look
and
how wonderful everything is in Scotland.
How she mocked and said he wasn't fit for public office. Of course, we believe her. She says she didn't know anything about it because she wasn't curious at all.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for now. Nicola Sturgeon has issued the following statement via her lawyers. She says, I have seen questions raised about how I could not have known about this. I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds. I was cleared of any wrongdoing after a lengthy and thorough investigation in relation to many of the items in question. For example, expensive watches and games consoles. I was not aware of them having been purchased at all.
Well, there we are. There's Nicola Sturgeon for you. So I wonder if you're as incredulous as many people in Scotland are about that. Now, time for the great British giveaway. Still plenty of time for your chance to win a whopping £76,543. And don't forget the 21 pence. Tax-free. Here's how you do it.
£76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash could be yours this summer. That's totally tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. What would you spend it on? Treat the family and friends to the ultimate summer party, or just relax with enough cash in the bank to make this year your best yet. And remember, because it's totally tax-free cash, you'll get to keep every single penny. So, what are you waiting for? For a chance to win £76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, coming up next, Pope Leo calls for more regulation of AI, warning some weapons systems are, quote, beyond human control. We'll reveal why this might antagonise a certain American president.
And we'll be going through all of that and more with our panel today, Piers Pottinger and Sebastian Salek. There they are. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, Parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the
unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Catherine Forster. We've got our panel here. We've got the political commentator Sebastian Salek and Piers Potter in the studio. Warm enough for you, Sebastian?
Do you know what? I'm very smug. I absolutely love the heat.
Oh,
I've just been in Italy, and it's nice to bring a bit of southern Europe back with me.
Right.
So I know how most people in Britain gets to about 23 degrees. The complaining starts. But no, I'm basking in it.
Piers?
I loved it. I was in Kew Gardens yesterday, the hottest place
in the country.
And it was stunningly beautiful with the most incredible Henry Moore exhibition, one of the most impressive exhibitions I've seen in years. I'd urge anyone who can go to go. It's marvellous.
Is it outdoors?
It is. It's all brilliantly displayed in the gardens. They're placed very cleverly. They're shown at their best, as Henry Moore would have wished, because he was a great believer in his sculptures being part of nature and being part of what we see around us. And it really is, it was stunning.
Right.
And the heat I was blissfully unaware. It was just very pleasant to me.
Sounds very nice. Now, you are a man of a proud Scottish heritage.
I am
Piers.
indeed, yes.
Your reaction to the extraordinary admission of guilt by Peter Murrell?
Well, I think we've known
£400,000
for a long time he was had his fingers and, in fact, his whole hands in every till. But what I think people are missing here, this is the biggest political cover-up in Scottish political history. What is going on now? He pleaded guilty, which means there's no trial properly, so there's no proper questioning of him. Of course, His relationship with his wife will not be questioned. Her role will not be mentioned. Next week, there's an incredible hearing where the narrative, as they call it, an agreed narrative between the prosecution and defence will be read out in court. And then a few weeks later, he will be sentenced, I imagine, to much less than the maximum 7 years, which he could get. I'm sure there's a deal being done. But what is sinister is that the Scottish National Party, a minister in the Scottish National Party, is the head of the prosecution service. And why was this announcement and this moved and this hearing, court hearing, moved till after
it was
the
due to
local
be
elections?
before the local elections.
Everything about this is political. Everything about it stinks to high heaven. John Swinney, the First Minister, was the person who appointed Murrell himself, has failed to apologise. When asked in a press conference yesterday several times to apologise, he refused. He should resign. I believe for once the Scottish people will wake up and stop this ghastly Scottish National Party dead in its tracks. Swinney has to go, and we need proper accountability. What are the Scottish National Party's finances like now? Where's the transparency? Where is it? And if I had anything to do or had given them money, I'd want it back.
Sebastian, it's the point, isn't it? I mean, some of this money was people giving a fiver, a tenner, people not with very much money, because they so passionately believe in that misplaced ideal, in my view, of independence.
Yeah, and look, I think that form of political donation is really valuable, and especially on the left, it's a real case for, if you believe in this, put a bit of money behind it, and together we can ensure that we don't have to rely so heavily on large donors, who I think will always be a part of politics, but the more we can concentrate those financial efforts towards ordinary people, the better. But this is hugely damaging in terms of trust, especially for a party on the left where you hold yourself to a higher moral standard and you are held to it by the people as well.
And if you recall what Nicola Sturgeon said about Boris Johnson on more than one occasion, unfit for public office. Well, her husband certainly is unfit for any form of public office. Would you, just out of interest, would you, if you had a partner, I don't know your situation, but if you were earning a combined income of 200,000, which Sturgeon and Murrell were, would you not be wondering, £81,000 Jaguar on the drive, a £34,000 Golf GT, £2,600 on La Ligue, salt and pepper, £5,800 on a watch, and the list goes on and on. Would you not, at some point, perhaps say to your partner, can we afford this, dear?
Yeah. I mean, the Cruze looks gorgeous, but you would start asking questions after a while.
Well, it was clearly a very weird marriage because, according to Sturgeon, they didn't socialise, they didn't go on holiday together.
But they lived in the same house, Piers.
But apparently they did live in the same. I wonder if she knew.
She lived.
Yeah, but they appeared in public. They went to Wimbledon together. They did it. So come on, it's stretching the imagination too far to believe some of
the TV cameras in the home regularly while he was there and she was there. Famously, on one occasion, I remember her scolding him for burning the toast, which
also the other thing is, of course, the timing of her stepping down, the timing of everything. The more you look at this, it stinks to high heaven.
Well, you mean
and it is no good. It is no good, John Swinney, trying to hide and do this. Oh, I was horrified. I'm a victim. Oh, it's terrible. No, mate, you're accountable. You're responsible to the Scottish people, and your day of reckoning is coming. This is the end for John Swinney.
Yeah, the timing as well, because we do know, Sebastian, this court case was going to be happening before the local elections, and it was delayed. And, of course, if the Scottish National Party minister is in charge of the justice system, I'm not suggesting that he or she moved it, but, again, it does add to this idea of convenient cover-up.
It does, and at such a time in politics where even in Scotland you've got a lot of parties moving for control. We've seen, a very long reign of the SNP and a very successful one by some measures.
2007.
Well, that's it. And you have a lot of parties from across the spectrum that are really making a case. And so for the ruling party to have that length of tenure and this level of scandal puts them in a lot of danger, I think.
Hopefully, the Scottish people will see sense and stop voting for these corrupt and very, very dangerous people. They've done a huge amount of damage to Scotland.
Well, I think that the situation, the drug situation, is the worst in Europe.
Education has collapsed in terms of quality. Crime rates have soared. It's Edinburgh's the drugs capital of Europe. And it's a nightmare scenario. And the economy is the worst in the country. People pay more tax than any other part of the United Kingdom, and it is a United Kingdom, by the way. It is absolutely... what they've done to Scotland has been dreadful. And how can anyone keep voting for them?
Joanna Cherry, the former SNP MP, who's a KC, she says that Nicola Sturgeon has a lot to answer for.
She certainly does. She's in the middle of all of this, and for the points you've raised, and for the fact that she was leader while all of this was.
She also signed off the accounts. Yeah, only 3 people signed off the accounts: Sturgeon, the treasurer, and Peter Murrell.
I mean, it runs very deeply within the party, and I think it's going to be a hard one to untangle.
And there is that report, which I think the Daily Record got hold of, where she's on record, she's being taped saying there's nothing wrong with the accounts. There's nothing wrong with the accounts.
And fully audited.
They're fully audited, which was completely untrue. Had she checked to see if there was anything wrong with the accounts? Was she covering up her husband even then?
Yeah, well, that's it. A lot to answer for.
We've got a statement from Nicola Sturgeon, which I know Catherine Fawcett is just dying to read.
Slightly better. I have seen questions raised about how I could not have known about this. I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds.
Well, the panel will be back, Sebastian and Piers Pottinger, but first we're going to get our 60-second news update with Tatiana Sanchez.
Thank you very much. The top stories. Bereaved parents of young people who have died because of links to social media will meet with the Prime Minister in Downing Street today, urging him to ban social media for under-16s. According to the most senior doctors, social media use ranks with smoking as a threat to the health of young people. Thousands of foreign criminals convicted of the most abhorrent offences have been removed from British soil as part of the government's drive to ramp up removals of those with no right to be in the UK. It comes as nearly 70,000 migrants have returned since this government came to power. Forecasters are warning temperatures could reach 35 degrees in parts of England today as a record-breaking heatwave continues. On Monday, the UK recorded its all-time highest May temperature as part of London reached 34.8 degrees. Police say a 13-year-old boy has died after getting into difficulty in a West Yorkshire reservoir on Bank Holiday Monday. A spokesperson said the boy was pulled from the water and taken to hospital, where he sadly was pronounced dead. That's as a dive team has recovered the body of a 15-year-old boy who went missing after getting into a lake in Lincoln. Those are the latest headlines. More in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Well, it's hot, and what does that mean? Illegal migrants are crossing the channel. Of course they are. 980 have crossed the channel since Friday. Will we see the 1,000th this morning, whilst Britain basks in sunshine?
This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's going to be another very hot day for parts of England and Wales today. Most of the country seeing plenty of sunshine, and that heat may give way to a few thunderstorms later this afternoon. So out there, first thing this morning, we do have some cloud across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles of rain here. But for England and Wales, a sunny morning, and that's going to give way to another very warm, if not hot, afternoon to come, especially across the far south of the country. Could see highs again reaching 34 or 35 degrees. A very exceptional spell of heat for the time of year. A little bit fresher further north, so a bit more comfortable here with temperatures reaching the low 20s. Into this evening, as I mentioned, we could potentially just see a few thunderstorms break out, but I think most of us remaining dry across the south with some plenty of late evening sunshine, and a fairly quiet evening to come across Northern Ireland and Scotland too, although we could continue to see some cloud across eastern Scotland, and that may again just give the odd spit and spot of rain. Overnight, very little changes. The cloud across eastern Scotland will spread its way a little bit further south to encompass parts of northern England. But for most of us, it's a fairly quiet night. Under the clear skies, we may just see the odd fog patch form, but especially across the south, another very warm night to come. Quite uncomfortable to sleep for some of us, but a little bit fresher further north, so certainly a bit more comfortable to sleep across Scotland. Into Wednesday, we will see a change in the east on Wednesday, picking up a bit more of a breeze here, so temperatures certainly much lower here compared to recent days, and that may again trigger the odd shower. The cloud across eastern parts of Scotland and northern England will gradually work its way back towards the coastline as the day goes on, with the best of the sunshine out towards the western half of the UK. And it's here where we see the highest of the temperatures again. We could see low 30s across the southwest, but certainly a little bit fresher down towards the southeast.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News every week.
You're not only watching and listening to our programmes, you're becoming part of them too.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. The A82 is restricted northbound near Longman Roundabout due to a broken down vehicle. The A5 is closed at Menai Bridge with diversions in place. Delays affect the A34 northbound between the M4 and A4 185 due to a collision, with one lane closed until just before 2. A vehicle is broken down on the M25 clockwise between junction 31 and junction 1A in Thurrock. Normal traffic expected before 11:30. And on the trains, major disruption affects Transport for Wales at Cardiff Central and between Manchester Piccadilly and Newton Le Willows. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
10:38. This is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Catherine Forster. What a treat.
It's lovely and cool in the studio. I can't tell you how nice it is.
It really is, because, you know, yesterday was the hottest May Day ever. Temperatures hit 95 degrees Fahrenheit in London. And we know Piers Pottinger was at the hottest place in the whole of the country, Kew Gardens.
About a mile from me. Also Heathrow. I mean, records were broken everywhere, weren't they? And by 2 degrees, because I think previously 32.8 was the hottest May Day ever.
Yeah.
It was back in 1944. And it was smashed by, what, 2 degrees?
Yeah.
And it could go even hotter today.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem to be cooling down. Westminster's already basking in glorious sunshine. We're going to talk to GB News national reporter Jack Carson, who's in a place where I used to go quite often with my family for a day trip, Weston-super-Mare, where we never ever found the sea. It was always out. Jack, morning.
Well, I can tell you, it's all the way out again. We're not going to get high tide for another 5 hours here. Of course, this sea, as you were saying, quite rightly, famous for just how far it goes out. But we have got so much to enjoy it. And actually, with the sea going out so far, it means all you've got is more beach to be able to use. And some people already early this morning making the most of this beautiful sunshine to get more of a tan. We've also seen some people metal detecting as well. People that we've spoken to waking up this morning and walking along the promenade, just loving this weather. They've had a bank holiday full of it, and now the fact that it carries on into an extra work day, I wonder how many people across the country have taken a bit of a sickie today to come out and enjoy another day of sunshine. We're going to reach possibly up to 30 degrees here today in this beautiful sunshine. You talking about you coming here as a kid, Andrew. I think this is one of the things that we get when it's beautiful weather like this, and we are able to come to seaside towns like this across the country. We look back to those memories of when we were kids, and we want to bring our own kids and families along to experience them as well. I was speaking to a lady earlier on who said she first came over to Weston-super-Mare in 1976 on a family holiday when her family lived in Canada. So it's those kind of memories that the sunshine really brings back for us all, remembering getting an ice cream on the beach, fish and chips, and of course experiencing things and all the kind of attractions that places like Weston here have to offer. And it's important that when this sunshine comes out that we come to these seaside towns, support these local economies. We know, you know, the business businesses here, the shops, they all survive so much on the trade that they get in the summer to be able to see them through the winter months. And one of the big attractions here, of course, is the Grand Pier. It was opened originally in the early 20th century and has burnt down twice in its history, but again and again it's been rebuilt, and I think that is because it shows how important it is to this area. So there's lots of different things that people can be doing, got a big Ferris wheel, all sorts for people to do in this hot weather, and it's all because of this high pressure we're getting over Europe at the moment, which is heating the ground, and then that's then compressing, and compression always causes more heat as well as the air dries out from the sun coming down, and then it hits the ground, and the heat comes back into the air, and that's why we're getting all this beautiful sunshine. There is not a cloud in the sky here. I don't know whether it's a bit too early for an ice cream. I'm trying to hold off until lunchtime. Come back to me in the next hour, see if I've managed to make it.
Jack, never too early for an ice cream, never too early for an ice cream, but get a hat on, please. Get a hat on, get a glass of water. Thank you very much. It looks absolutely incredible. We were just reminiscing. My parents I grew up in Harrogate, which is literally 2 hours either way to the coast. Yeah. But occasionally we'd have an outing like to Blackpool. My mother would make egg and onion sandwiches in the car wrapped up in tin foil.
We'd have egg sandwiches, actually, that's right. And Weston-super-Mare was the nearest to Swindon. I think it was probably an hour and a half drive, maybe.
Swindon, another place not very near the coast.
No,
lovely.
And that was, and we'd always have a competition. Who thinks the sea's going to be in? It was never in. It's always miles out. You had to walk for miles to get... But still, we didn't mind. We were having a nice day out.
You can't beat Britain when you get the weather.
I quite agree. Now, still ahead. Did you have a Saturday job? Did it instill you with a work ethic? Because the Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden, says the death of the paper round has been one of the fuels or triggers for record youth... Well, it's not record youth unemployment, but it's currently at 16%.
But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, and why would you need to be? But if you are, here is the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The heat wave continues across much of Central and Western Europe in particular. Lots of hot sunshine to come over the coming days. Temperatures close to 30 Celsius across the Canaries. Sunny spells here. Hot sunshine for Spain and Portugal. Perhaps 1 or 2 thunderstorms in the evening times. The risk of 1 or 2 showers. Southern parts of Italy across to Greece and into Turkey. But temperatures still on the hot side and staying hot over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Neil, my partner, I don't drive anymore, but my partner Neil was driving, and we'd been to have a manicure and a pedicure, which one always does on a particular day, and we were coming back home, and we would turn the corner onto a busy road, which is a dual carriageway near the Tower of London, and Neil suddenly stopped behind a car, which was letting some people off into a hotel. And then I said, move, because the car moved in front. And Neil said, it's dead. There's nothing happening. And the whole car just sort of stopped. And I tried to open the door, and I couldn't open the door. I tried to open the window, couldn't open the window. We couldn't do the hazard lights. And cars were zooming down this road at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. Now, it was a 20-mile-an-hour limit to this road, which is important, because Neil rang the insurance. The insurance gave the RAC a number, and we then communicated with them, and this was at 5:45 in the evening. And they said, we'll be with you between 12 and 2 a.m.
Oh.
So we panicked. There was a terrible panic because cars were zooming down, moving out into the road to not bump into us. And I was really panicking. And what happened next was that when we decided we couldn't get out, I then rang the police. Now, the police, I spoke to this girl, and this police girl said, no, we can't come and collect you, I'm afraid. I said, I'm terrified. And she said, no, sorry, we can't come and collect you. It was just so frustrating.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, it's just after 11:15. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
The former First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, as you know, is locked up after admitting embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP.
Yes, Nicola Sturgeon has, of course, denied any knowledge or suspicion that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds.
We've heard from the Scottish First Minister, he's personally horrified at Mr Murrow's offending, not least because, of course, he appointed him to the job. Let's talk to Brian Monteith, who is a columnist for The Scotsman and, of course, was also a member of the Scottish Parliament. Brian, good morning to you. Long time no speak.
Good morning.
Can I ask you just first your reaction? Were you dumbfounded?
I wasn't dumbfounded. I anticipated, I have to say, all along that Mr Murrow would take a plea and avoid a lengthy court case, which, of course, could be highly embarrassing, not just to him, his party, but to his wife and John Swinney. And it was probably likely that he was going to take that plea even before the election. What is unbelievable and was dumbfounding was that the hearing was moved from before the election until after the election. And that's where really serious questions have to be asked.
Brian, obviously, this has huge consequences for the SNP. And yes, how very, very convenient for them that the timing was before this. But this has cost taxpayers £2 million at a time where there are really deep-seated problems in Scotland. What do you think this means for the current First Minister, John Swinney? Do you think he's going to be able to continue to just bat this away and sort of put it in a box as ancient history?
Well, I think he'll try, and he probably will get away with it. Scotland needs constitutional change, but it's not the change that John Swinney wants. It no longer should have this situation where the chief prosecuting officer of the law is actually a member of his cabinet. That's the constitutional change that must end, because that actually is highly contestable, must have conflicts of interest, and certainly questions the trust the public have in the justice system. It looks politicised. It smells corrupt. Probably not, but that's the way it smells. And so people will ask questions, and that's what he should be trying to change. And if he doesn't take control of that, then, of course, he will be constantly under criticism.
How long has that been the position, Brian? Because it's unique to Scotland, from what I understand. Has that been the case since devolution, that the prosecutor the chief prosecutor is part of the Scottish cabinet, so whoever's in power?
It was always possible from the start of devolution, but it's a fairly recent event in bringing it in, and from my memory, it was the SNP that brought that relationship in, but it was always there constitutionally when devolution was created.
Both Catherine and I want to know, Brian, if you have on your dining room table £2,600 Lalique salt and pepper pot.
No, I find that very interesting. Looking at the rather crass, expensive trinkets in the long list, when you thumb through them, either Nicola Sturgeon must have seen some of them. She must have been wearing some of them, such as the gold pendant, or she must have sat in the Jag or the Golf. But if not, were they all in the motorhome, like some sort of Aladdin's cave? Either way, I think it's not a good look, because she either knew, and that's why her husband has taken the plea to avoid the case coming fully out in court, or she didn't know, in which case she actually failed her fiduciary duty as the head of her party and ultimately signing off the accounts, which I may add included the motorhome as an asset.
And she is on camera saying a few years ago, basically, no, there's no missing money, because, of course, the allegations went on for years. This police investigation took years, and also saying that everything was properly audited. Well, it clearly wasn't. But what do you think the damage will be to people's faith in, well, the SNP, first of all, but politics more broadly, because we know that people are very disaffected. And this is, I mean, I think you couldn't make this story up, and yet it is true. And they got away with it. Well, sorry, Peter Murrell got away with it for a very long time.
Well, I think faith in the SNP was already declining because of a number of scandals. This is the biggest one since devolution. But their vote share's fallen, their number of MSPs have fallen. And I think it's very fortunate, to say the least, that this prosecution was not brought and heard in a court before the actual public vote, because I'm sure it would have made a difference. I'm sure it will accelerate the SNP's decline. What's difficult to see is how it could be covered up so magnificently if it wasn't actually for SNP members and activists who donated their personal funds, kicking up a fuss, which Nicola Sturgeon then told everybody to calm down, everything was fine, we're audited, it goes to the Electoral Commission and so on and so forth. If it wasn't for them, it would not have seen the light of day, because the press certainly wasn't scrutinising it. But thanks to the members saying, where's our money gone? And there were holes in the account, then we had a police investigation in the end. And the auditors, of course, the auditors resigned, as did Joanna Cherry and also a treasurer. There was a train of events sending red flags that Nicola Sturgeon should have acted upon, but she didn't.
All right, Brian, on that point, thank you so much for talking to us. That's Brian Monteith, columnist with The Scotsman, former member of the Scottish Parliament. Now, Nicola Sturgeon has issued the following statement via her lawyers.
I've seen questions raised about how I could not have known about this. I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds.
Breaking news, 4 people have been killed in a collision between a train and a school minibus in Belgium.
Yes, 7 children, a chaperone and the minibus driver were on a level crossing in the town when the accident happened, according to local media. We will have more on that breaking story shortly.
That's terrible, isn't it? So that's 4 people have been killed in that collision between a train and a school minibus in Belgium. Up next, we'll tell you about the hidden costs of childcare and how the government says it's going to crack down on them. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's going to be another very hot day for parts of England and Wales today. Most of the country seeing plenty of sunshine, and that heat may give way to a few thunderstorms later this afternoon. So out there, first thing this morning, we do have some cloud across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles of rain here. But for England and Wales, a sunny morning, and that's going to give way to another very warm, if not hot, afternoon to come, especially across the far south of the country. Could see highs again reaching 34 or 35 degrees. A very exceptional spell of heat for the time of year. A little bit fresher further north, so a bit more comfortable here with temperatures reaching the low 20s. Into this evening, as I mentioned, we could potentially just see a few thunderstorms break out, but I think most of us remaining dry across the south with some plenty of late evening sunshine and a fairly quiet evening to come across Northern Ireland and Scotland too, although we could continue to see some cloud across eastern Scotland, and that may again just give the odd spit and spot of rain. Overnight, very little changes. The cloud across eastern Scotland will spread its way a little bit further south to encompass parts of northern England. But for most of us, it's a fairly quiet night. Under the clear skies, we may just see the odd fog patch form, but especially across the south, another very warm night to come. Quite uncomfortable to sleep for some of us, but a little bit fresher further north, so certainly a bit more comfortable to sleep across Scotland. Into Wednesday, we will see a change in the east on Wednesday, picking up a bit more of a breeze here, so temperatures certainly much lower here compared to recent days, and that may again trigger the odd shower. The cloud across eastern parts of Scotland and northern England will gradually work its way back towards the coastline as the day goes on, with the best of the sunshine out towards the western half of the UK. And it's here where we see the highest of the temperatures. Again, we could see low 30s across the southwest, but certainly a little bit fresher down towards the southeast.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Are you dreaming of a ton of tax-free cash this summer? We want to make that dream come true with a stunning £76,543 and 21 pence in cash to spend however you like. Put a new car on the drive or just relax in the knowledge that this year we've got your back. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time. But I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
11 o'clock on Tuesday the 26th of May, live across the UK. Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Catherine Forster.
Well, breaking news. 4 people have been killed after a train collided with a school bus at a level crossing in the town of Bruggenhout in Belgium. We understand the victims are 2 teenagers, the bus driver and 1 adult. We'll bring you the latest.
Good morning. It's going to be another potentially record-breaking day across the UK today. Temperatures once again reaching the mid-30s. Find out all the details with me a little later.
May Day sizzle. Britain's baking in the sunshine yet again today, and it's going to get even hotter.
Well, it is another absolute scorcher. We've come to Weston-super-Mare for the day. At the seaside, you've got ice cream, fish and chips, and of course, lots of people enjoying Donkey Ride this morning.
Online toxic threat. Top doctors warn that social media is as bad for young people as smoking.
And tech giants targeted bereaved families are meeting the Prime Minister today, calling for a sweeping social media ban for people under the age of 16.
He was first against a ban and now he might be in favour of one. But does the experience in Australia mean it's quite a risk for this country to take?
And missing work ethic. The Work and Pensions Secretary, Pat McFadden, is claiming that the death of the paper round is fuelling the youth unemployment crisis.
You didn't do a paper round, did you?
I didn't do a paper round, but I had a job, worked in a shop in sixth form, and I loved it so much because it was the trendiest shop in town.
Oh.
Athena, the cards and the posters, very popular in the 80s, and yeah, it was great. You had?
I had quite a few jobs. Greengrocers.
From what age?
I probably did the paper round from about 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Then I worked in the greengrocers when I was 14, I think. Don't think you'd be allowed to now.
I think
it's 20p an hour.
It's quite hard now for kids to get a job under about 16.
Yeah.
I think it's become more and more difficult. And also, they just don't do them. I mean, my kids have had Saturday jobs, but most of their friends wouldn't have, whereas when I was young, like, we all had a job on Saturday, all of us.
And I also flogged tickets for Swindon Town Football Club, lottery tickets, to raise money for the football club. They're still languishing in the bottom division, so obviously didn't raise much money today.
Well, we would love to know what you think. Send your views and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com, your say. But first, here's the news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Thank you very much. The top stories. Breaking news this hour that several people have been killed in a collision between a train and a school minibus in the town of Bruggenhout in Belgium. 7 children, a chaperone and a minibus driver were on a level crossing in the town when the incident happened, according to local media. In comments reported by RTL, Belgium's transport minister has said 2 teenagers, the bus driver and another adult, said to be the chaperone, were all killed. More on that breaking news story as we get it. Elsewhere, bereaved parents of young people who've died because of links to social media will meet with the Prime Minister in Downing Street today, urging him to ban social media for under-16s. According to the most senior doctors, social media use ranks with smoking as a threat to the health of young people. The Academy of Medical Royal Colleges says doctors should routinely ask about screen time and social media use when seeing younger patients. Technology Secretary Liz Kendall says new measures on social media for under-16s will be brought in by the end of the year as a consultation on the matter comes to an end. Opposition Assistant Whip Katie Lamb spoke to GB News.
Parents and of course bereaved parents especially are deeply, deeply worried and frustrated and upset at this issue, at how long it's taken. It's like with everything, it's important to get it right. It's important to get the enforcement mechanism right, and sometimes that can take a little bit of time. But there doesn't really seem to be any sense of urgency from this government to do absolutely anything whatsoever.
Forecasters are warning temperatures could reach 35 degrees in parts of England today as a record-breaking heatwave continues. On Monday, the UK recorded its all-time highest May temperature as part of London reached 34.8 degrees. That figure recorded in Kew Gardens also surpassed the hottest bank holiday Monday on record at 33.3 degrees back in August 2019. The highest temperatures are expected in southeast England, while other areas in England and Wales will climb to highs in 20. Elsewhere, police have said a 13-year-old boy has died after getting into difficulty in a West Yorkshire reservoir on Bank Holiday Monday. The spokesperson said the boy was pulled from the water and taken to hospital, where he sadly died. It says the dive team has also recovered the body of a 15-year-old boy who went missing after getting into a lake in Lincoln. Lincolnshire police had received reports of Declan Sawyer having difficulty after entering Swanholme Lakes at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon. Declan's father, Carl, paid tribute, calling him a funny and outgoing young man who loved his fishing and his football. Elsewhere, thousands of foreign criminals convicted of the most abhorrent offences have been removed from British soil as part of the government's drive to ramp up removals of those with no right to be in the UK. It comes as nearly 70,000 migrants have returned since this government came to power as part of major reforms to the UK immigration system to remove the incentives attracting illegal migrants to the country. New figures published this week reveal nearly 100 murderers, 600 sexual offenders and 600 violent criminals are no longer on British soil. It says 800 thieves, 200 fraudsters and 2,300 drug offenders were removed in the last year. The US military said it conducted self-defense strikes on Iran yesterday, targeting a number of sites in the south of the country. US Central Command spokesman Captain Tim Hawkins said the targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to emplace mines. Well, Mr. Hawkins said the move was to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. And the former First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, Peter Murrell, has pleaded guilty to embezzling over £400,000 from the SNP. Nicola Sturgeon has denied any knowledge or suspicion that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds. Scottish First Minister John Swinney expressed his personal horror on the issue. Cabinet Office Minister Anna Turley spoke to GB News Breakfast.
It's gobsmacking, to be honest. I was really shocked to hear the scale of the money involved, this lavish spending. It's really quite shocking. And I think the SNP and Nicola have serious questions to answer. I don't know all the details. We don't know what she did or didn't know. But I think serious questions have to be asked because it's just not acceptable. You know, we're here for public service. And when these kinds of figures are, this kind of act is being undertaken, it's absolutely shocking. It brings all of politics into disrepute. They need some transparency and accountability. And there are some serious questions to be answered here.
Nicola Sturgeon has issued the following statement via her lawyer. She said, "I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds." She goes on to say, "I was cleared of any wrongdoing after a lengthy and thorough investigation. In relation to many of the items in question, for example, expensive watches and games consoles, she says, I was not aware of them having been purchased at all." Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, here's a look at the finance.
Taking the ups and downs in our stride. Stilts Home Lifts sponsors the GB News Finance Report.
The pound will buy you $1.35 and €1.16. The price of gold, £3,352. And the FTSE 100 is currently at 10,531 points.
GB News Finance Report, brought to you by Stilts Home Lifts.
Well, hello and welcome. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the United Kingdom. And we are Andrew Pearce and Catherine Forster.
You weren't sure there. Now,
just think about it for a minute.
Just to recap that awful breaking news, 4 people have been killed after a train collided with a school bus at a level crossing in the town of Buggenhurt in Belgium.
Yes, we understand the victims are 2 teenagers, the bus driver and another adult.
Federal police said the collision took place shortly after 8 o'clock this morning local time while the barriers of the level crossing were down. We'll have the latest when we can bring you more. We've got some texts and emails coming in.
Absolutely horrendous. Lots of emails. Thank you very much for sending them. Some about Saturday jobs. I love this one from Colin in Dover. Says, I'm 74 and I have a paper round. Every Saturday I deliver one to my neighbour who is 93.
Oh,
Isn't that
sweet.
Fabulous?
I hope it's the Daily Mail.
Other ones saying who's this from? Jackie. In 1968, at age 16, I worked in Woolworths in Brighton as a Saturday girl. I got £1.60, and the 60 went for national insurance tax. Oh, my goodness. I still miss Woolworths. I remember when Woolworths closed. My goodness, there's another one here. Struggling to read these without my glasses, but I'm much too vain to put them on. Also, dogs on beds. We've had a few of those. We've had some pictures. Thank you. We'll try to get those up. But also, Kate has messaged about her 10-stone cane Corso. I didn't know what that was, did you? Apparently, it's an Italian breed of Mastiff, and it's absolutely massive.
10 stone?
And this dog
it's almost as heavy as me.
Still loves the cuddle in this heat, which is killing us. Can you imagine 10 stone?
Oh, my God. 10 stone. You wouldn't want that on the bed. It would break it.
We've also got a Labrador on the bed. Thank you for that. We'll try to get that up. Watching GB News, of course he is.
Now, some breaking news. The sentences in a rape case which saw those 2 teenage boys spared jail, we talked about it at length yesterday, you remember, is to be referred to the Court of Appeal after being reviewed by the Attorney-General, Lord Hermer. This is according to Sir Keir Starmer. Well, that's good news. We thought it would happen.
It is good news.
It was an outrage. The judge decided that they were too young to be criminalised, even though they subjected those 2 girls to gang rape, repeatedly raping them. It
was absolutely horrific. 90 minutes filmed and then put it on social media. I mean, one of the girls said that she just wants to die and said that the verdict was like being hit in the face by a rock.
Well, we often criticise the Prime Minister on this programme, but he was quite right to express his concern. He is a lawyer, after all, lawyer more than a leader, in my view, but he was right. And Hermer, the Attorney-General, they have moved fast, and it's now before the Court of Appeal. And let's hope the Court of Appeal do the right thing and lock them up. Now, social media is the new smoking, according to medical experts who are warning of an epidemic of harm to children.
Yes, the government is being urged to act more quickly to tackle this issue by banning social media for under-16s.
And as we speak, I think it's as we speak, families are meeting the Prime Minister face-to-face as part of the government's Growing Up in an Online World. Consultation closes at midnight tonight. We're joined by our political editor, Christopher Hope. Chris Hope, if he U-turns, good. Because sometimes it's good to U-turn. I mean, you've got it wrong, because initially the Prime Minister was not at all in favour of banning under-16s.
Well, the policy always used to be wait and see what Australia does and see how that's going. Now, the problem that the government's got is it's not entirely clear what's happening in Australia. We're told that children are using VPNs, which are a way to get round bans.
Just remind me what a VPN is.
Well, a VPN is a way of you basically you sign up to some software, which means the end result, which is the algorithm, doesn't know how old you are because you deflect the signal you're from your computer around the world, so it masks who you are, which means that the people with the social media can't really tell if you're over 16 or under 16, and it allows kids to go online when they can't in Australia. That's happening. Obviously, kids lie about their age. That's always been happening ever since you're trying to go buy a pint in a pub and you're 16 or 18. That always happens. What is happening is that social media appears to be getting more and more adult in Australia because people now think, well, children aren't on it, so let's not even try to protect anyone from what's on social media. And that is even worse because it's getting more and more adult and kids are on it as well.
And that's interesting, isn't it? And there are, of course, divided opinions amongst the parents of bereaved parents whose children have died as a result of what they've seen on social media. And Molly Russell's father feels very passionately that a ban is not the right measure because he feels that children will get round a ban, but also that it's sort of letting the tech giants off the hook in a way, rather than saying to them, you have got to police your content.
That goes to the heart of it, Catherine. We are publishers at GB News and Ofcom and everything else. We are liable for everything on our website and correctly on our channel. But for some reason, these media giants are not liable for what they put out there, or they haven't been. And I think that's where the law is going, it seems. But there's 70,000 responses to this consultation. It ends tonight. The PM's doing a roundtable with the bereaved families of children who killed themselves, having been egged on, having seen things on social media. It does seem... I mean, people might think, well, I know Nigel Farage is against it, because Reform UK are against it, for example, because they're concerned about the freedom of speech issues. But what else can you do? Can you raise the age at which you can use the social media from 13 to 16, or just ban it outright? It's not clear.
And when the consultation ends at midnight tonight, Chris, who makes the decision? Is it a cabinet decision, or is it the Prime Minister's decision?
It'll be the PM. And the PM, many are already talking about some form of legacy planning for the Prime Minister. We saw it with Tony Blair back in 2006-07 when he stopped being Prime Minister after 10 years. We saw it with Theresa May with a net zero commitment by 2050 without a vote of MPs in Parliament in 2017.
Who'd want that as a legacy?
Well, she did. Again, no vote in Parliament on that by MP. So I think it will be definitely a personal thing for Keir Starmer if they go there. We'll know more in our weekly meeting of the lobby at midday, and I'll bring that to you.
Today?
Yes.
Very interesting.
But I think politics is moving also north of the border on GB News increasingly, because the horror of the spending by Peter Morrell, the embezzlement, the stolen money from people giving £10, £20 towards a cause they believe in above all else. If you ever go to Scotland, and we used to work there, and I've covered the 2014 referendum, the idea of Scottish independence is above everything else for these individuals. They might be wrong or misguided, depending on your politics, but to have that trust abused by Peter Morrell, I think, will set back independence by a decade. I'm not. It's a complete disaster. We'll hear from the Scottish First Minister at 2 o'clock today. The Reform UK, which is one of the two opposition parties in the Parliament, they're pushing for an urgent question, a ministerial statement. What did John Swinney know? He's a Scottish First Minister. He appointed Morrell back in 2001 as a chief executive. Is it really conceivable that no one else around Nicola Sturgeon, including her, didn't know about the scale of the spending? I mean, the pictures in today's newspapers of Nicola Sturgeon walking past a Jaguar here, which was apparently paid for by money taken from the SNP. Did she not say, how can you afford this car, to her husband?
£81,000 that Jaguar cost.
Yeah.
And they also had a £34,000 VW Golf. What, 2 cars?
Yeah. I mean, this is unaffordable to so many people.
And she has an official car.
She had an official car. Of course, she may have thought it was a hire purchase. We know that she felt that they're both well-paid individuals. They didn't talk much about their private lives, didn't go on holiday much, so wasn't aware of the...
They share a house. So
they shared a house.
He was taking stuff into that house. We now know, Chris, don't we, when that big tent was put outside the house during the...
Heavily criticised at the time.
Yes,
because it made it look like it was a murder inquiry. It was to conceal from public view all the magpie goods that Murrell had been buying with SNP
I mean, the £2,600 salt and pepper grinder, the £6,000 coffee machines, £4,500 on watches, £110 pencil sharpener. It is completely outrageous what happened here. We covered the MP expenditure scandal back in the day. That was also a trust issue. This is why it is so damaging. And the MP expenditure scandal led to a clear-out of about a third of the MPs at the time.
It did. Well, 3 went to prison, and it also led to a system where we had MPs' expenses had to be published transparently online for the first time.
Which is now more expensive, by the way. The system now is more expensive. Now they can't be trusted.
But at least we know what they're doing with the money. And I don't think it will ever be allowed again that a political party can be led by someone who is chief executive.
And the fallout from this, it happened on Bank Holiday Monday, it's hot weather, no one's paying attention. I just think the fury about this is going to go on today and through the incoming days.
And, of course, we get the sentencing. And, of course, we also know, Chris, that the court case yesterday was delayed because it was due to take place before those Scottish elections in the Holyrood Parliament.
Yes.
How very, very convenient.
How convenient.
For that election.
Well, somewhat. And so today, 2 p.m, John Swinney in the Scottish Parliament. Ambitions for Scotland he'll be trying to talk about, but that won't last long. The opposition parties will be asking questions. What do you know? Will you order an independent inquiry? He surely should.
And, of course, Parliament is in recess here in Westminster, but that will be a burning question, next week.
No question.
Absolutely. Christopher Hope, who is our political editor. Nicola Sturgeon, forgive us if you heard this before, but we have to read it out. That's the law. Nicola Sturgeon has issued the following statement via our lawyers, which is so interesting. Catherine's going to read it.
If I can see it. Can I see it?
There it is.
I have seen questions raised about how I could not have known about this. I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds.
Of course you didn't, Mrs Sturgeon. We believe every word you say, always. Time for the Great British Giveaway now, and there's still plenty of time to grab your chance to win a whopping £76,000, £543.21 in time for the summer. Here's how you do it.
£76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash could be yours this summer. That's totally tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. What would you spend it on? Treat the family and friends to the ultimate summer party, or just relax with enough cash in the bank to make this year your best yet. And remember, because it's totally tax-free cash, you'll get to keep every single penny. So what are you waiting for? For a chance to win £76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, up next, Pope Leo is calling for more regulation of AI, warning that some weapon systems are, quote, beyond human control. But why now?
We're going through that and more with our panel today, Piers Pottinger and Seb Salek. It's not the name of Britain on the autocue. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again. To start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
(11:24), Britain's Newsroom. This is live across the United Kingdom with Andrew and Catherine. We've got the political commentators Sebastian Salek and Piers Pottage in the studio. Chaps, breaking news. We talked about it a lot yesterday in the programme because we're very excised by it. The Attorney-General, Lord Herman, who I've fundamentally disagreed with just about everything he's ever done, he has referred to the Court of Appeal the sentencing of 3 teenage rapists who repeatedly raped 14 and a 15-year-old girl, 2 separate incidents. One of them was at knife point. They also filmed it to add to the girls' horror. They then posted their films on social media. The judge, called Nicholas Rowland, decided that because they were young, these boys, he didn't want to criminalise them further, he wouldn't put them in prison.
I mean, the details are just stomach-churningly horrible, aren't they? And look, broadly, I get the argument for rehabilitation and for not criminalising young boys, but in a situation like this, I think there was a case for punishment. That feels relatively straightforward. And here we're seeing, political intervention doing the right thing. It's not often we get these kinds of interventions, but they have to be used selectively and they have to be used when there is a perceived injustice, as I think we all probably see is happening here.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it, Piers?
Yes. But, I mean, Herman only did this after there was such a big outcry.
Yeah.
If he'd been a proper Attorney General with his eye on the ball, he would have done this of his own volition. It took an outcry of the British people to force him into doing this. But, of course, it's absurd. And, unfortunately, some of the calibre of our judges these days are very, very low indeed, as we're seeing.
I think, frankly, there should be a mechanism by which, if there is, it's so clearly inappropriate, they should be saying, we're just going to go to the Prime Minister, actually. He's just been speaking in Brighton. Let's take a listen to what he's got to say.
Today, talking about the government's childcare announcement, how can the public be confident that you will be around to see through these promises, given that your future hangs in the balance?
Well, I'm here in Hove at Acorn Nursery, which is a fantastic nursery. And the point I'm making here is, firstly, that the childcare provisions we've put in place have now been rolled out. So that's free childcare from 9 months to 4 years, which is a game changer for parents and for young children as well, because being able to arrive at school ready to learn makes such a difference. I'm aware, because parents have told me in other parts of the country, that some additional costs have been added. So I'm here to make it clear through you that the core provision that the government is providing is there, free for everyone, and so the additional fees can't cut across what the government is doing. That's really important, because whatever's going on in the world, whatever's going on in politics, and there's a lot, for almost all families across the country, the cost of living is still the single most important issue. And free childcare saves thousands of pounds, allows parents and carers to get back to work, and is fantastic for children.
The government's consultation on keeping children safe online closes tonight. Why are you only today meeting bereaved families at what some see as the 11th hour? And what assurances can you give them of how far the government is prepared to go to keep children safe online?
The consultation on children and social media is closing this evening. We've had very, very many people have been part of the process, either responding or in discussions with me and with others. I'm meeting some of the parents this afternoon. I'll be really clear. The question now is not whether we do something. We are going to act. I'm absolutely clear that this needs to be something where there's a game changer. So we will be acting. The question is only what we do, and that will be coming very quickly, because we took powers earlier this year to make sure we can act very, very quickly. So consultation will finish. We will then act, and we will be decisive, because it's absolutely clear to me that we need to take action to protect children, and we can act quickly.
Giselle Pellico has said she is shocked that 2 boys have been spared jail after being convicted of rape, while some prosecutors have described the decision as misogynistic. Do you agree, and do you think a mistake has been made in this sentencing?
I think it's a really distressing case. I think it's distressing for everybody to see, to hear about. The courage, frankly, of the girls to come forward is humbling, but it is distressing. I find it distressing as a politician. I find it distressing as a father. And there are questions about the sentence. The Attorney General has power to refer a case to the Court of Appeal if the Attorney General thinks that the sentence is too lenient. The Attorney General has now exercised that power, so I can announce that that case now will go to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal will now review the sentence in that case, and that is clearly the right outcome.
And finally, for the pool, does John Swinney have questions to answer about the Peter Murrell embezzlement scandal?
Well, I think anybody looking at what's happening up in Scotland will be baffled that those at the top of the SNP didn't, or say they didn't know anything about what was going on. So clearly there are questions that need to be answered.
OK, fantastic.
Saying that people will feel baffled about what's happened in Scotland, and clearly there are questions to answer. He very notably didn't answer the first question, did he, about how do we know you're going to be still around to implement any of these policies. This free childcare offer from 9 months, it's a really, really big deal, and the government are trumpeting it. But of course, it was a policy brought in by the Conservatives, massively beneficial to lots of families, but the Tories don't get any credit for it now. And it does sound on the social media side like they are moving towards a ban. What do you think, Piers?
Yes, I think they probably are. Whether it'll work is another question. It doesn't seem to have worked very well in Australia. And it, like all of these things, it depends how they shape it and what they actually do, because they do tend to tinker around. As we've seen, Bridget Phillipson has spent a year before she's given the guidance on the Supreme Court ruling on the question of transgender and single-sex spaces for women. And the guidance she's given is clearly she's tinkered with it and has caused uproar with women's rights group, and they've already said they're going to look at it again. So again, this government is so weak at the moment that any public outcry means they immediately rethink. They haven't got the confidence to govern that they once had. And Starmer doesn't really look like a Prime Minister these days anymore, because he is a lame duck. We all know it. His good friend Emmanuel Macron is also a lame duck, and all the French know it. So they make a good pair.
He did look, just looking at him, Sebastian, I just thought he looked diminished.
Well, he's in a weird position where if Burnham wins, then yes, he's probably out the door. But there is also a reality where Burnham doesn't win and Starmer carries on. And I think the one thing that we know about Keir Starmer is you mustn't underestimate him. He moved heaven and earth to become Labour leader, to become Prime Minister, to exercise the anti-Semitism that the Labour Party was gunged in for so long, and it felt impossible that we'd ever move past that. So there really is a passage for him. I mean, we'll see where it goes. But
he's lost all respect of the electorate. No one respects him. No one looks at him as a Prime Minister. And also, he split the Labour Party into 4 bits. I mean, it's fragmented, it's disintegrated.
The Labour Party's always been
Labour
broad.
Party is fighting
like
itself now in public very clearly. And we've read today that 2 backbench MPs are thinking, good heavens, they're going to leave the Labour Party and join the Greens. How? I mean, if these guys have got to be deranged to do that, how can anyone seriously, who's a serious politician, consider joining the Greens? For goodness sake.
But he did win an election, didn't he? And are we really going to have a 6th Prime Minister in 7 years? I mean, how do we ever get anything done? Because bring somebody new in and change this and change that. OK, we've had the Prime Minister for 2 years and we've had, what, 14, 15 U-turns. But it just feels mad in a way, doesn't it, that here we go again, and is the Labour Party going to gamble, take the chance on somebody else? Well, look how it worked out for the Tories. But again, they look at their poll ratings and they think if this guy leads us into the next election, they're going to go down.
Well, it does show more than anything else what a united party, the importance it is to have a united party. Because if you don't have the backbench support, you can't govern. Because every time we had the Tory rebels, I mean, how many times a day did people mention the Tory rebels won't go along with this? Now we get the backbench rebels with the Labour Party, or another fraction of the Labour Party, faction rather, whether it's blue Labour or extreme left or your
That's a battle
party.
of ideas. That's what democracy is all about. It's good to have those people within the party. I wouldn't want them to leave, but we've got to look at this in perspective now.
The trouble is they don't have a united vision of what they stand for.
Well, nobody does. That's the fragmentation of our politics, because we're in such a difficult position. We've never been here before. We've not recovered from the financial crisis. What we have to allow is prime ministers to see out their terms, because we saw...
So would you change it so that they can't topple a serving prime minister?
I don't know that I would change it, but politically I would encourage people to stay the course, because the question I ask everybody is, what would you reasonably hope that would have happened by now? And nobody has given me a satisfactory answer on this, because these kinds of large-scale changes take time. I know we're all desperate. We've all been hurting since probably 2008. But you can't turn around a country in, what, 22 months? You need
but what you actually need... What you need is to get the country behind you, to understand what you're trying to achieve and have a vision for the future, a proper vision. No politician of any party at the moment has a big picture vision that is actually talking about what they want for the future of this country. Not since Margaret Thatcher have we had anyone with that kind of vision.
The problem with that, and I think there's a lot to be said for what you're coming out with, but you then get stuck in an ideology. Margaret Thatcher was an ideological woman. She did a lot of things for those reasons, and they weren't in the best interests of the country. Politics is fluid.
Most of them were in the best interests of the country.
So you have to be able to adapt.
My goodness me, we need someone like her right now.
Let's just, before we move, let's just move on, because the Pope has issued what they call an encyclical. It's his first one.
Yeah.
It's a major statement of his own philosophical view, and he's choosing to talk about AI, Sebastian, particularly his fear that it is being used increasingly in warfare, which we've seen with America and Iran.
This is it, and I am stunned that AI is not more of a political topic in the UK as well, because it is coming for us all in some sense. I think there are huge opportunities for AI, but the way that it is going to change, I think Morgan McSpeen's been talking about political campaigning. Now we've got the Pope talking about misinformation, conflict, the risk of it creating wars. We had a model from Anthropic, one of the big AI players, that they didn't release because it was so good at finding bugs that it's likely to increase the chances of hacking for the systems that we all use. So we're at this point where these large private companies are willingly holding back technology they've developed because it is so dangerous. So we have to move very carefully, and I'm quite heartened to see one of the most powerful men in the world in many senses raising this as an issue.
Is this going to cause more tension in his relationship with the Pope, because with the President of the United States?
Yeah, well, I mean, that, I think, is a sideline.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Sebastian. The core of what he's saying is absolutely true. It's very important. And I think most people... the problem is I don't know what the solution to what he's saying is. At the moment, it's a very disparate group of AI companies, and technology is spread so widely and is not controlled by anyone or any regulatory body in any kind of serious way that can prevent something horrific happening. And I'm sure it could happen at any moment. It's a terrifying thought. It's science fiction come to life, and it's becoming fact, not fiction.
All right, gentlemen, that is it from our panel. Up next, we are talking about the government crackdown on hidden childcare fees for things like nappies and sun cream. But are they nicking all the credit from the Tories? Seems like they are.
Seems like it, yes. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. After the temperature record for May was broken on Monday by 2 degrees, it may well be broken again today as the heat continues to intensify Last night was the warmest night on record for May, and under this area of high pressure we keep the sunny skies, and temperatures are rising quickly this morning and into the afternoon with widely 30 plus Celsius across a large part of England and Wales. Now for Scotland and Northern Ireland, once again it's a little cooler, but actually with sunny skies for many. Temperatures are rising compared with the last few days. Low 20s, perhaps mid 20s in some spots. Coolest for the east of Scotland, but those temperatures reaching 35, potentially 36 Celsius in the southeast of England. Towards the east of Scotland, we've got a lot of low cloud and some spots of rain, but western Scotland, widespread sunny skies, and it's here that temperatures are likely to climb into the mid or even approaching the high 20s. Likewise for Northern Ireland, lots of sunshine. Further south with widely 30 Celsius still at 6 p.m. There is the chance late afternoon into the evening of some torrential thunderstorms. This is one of those where it's all or nothing. Many places across central and southern England will see very little, but one or two spots could be hit by a really quite lively thunderstorm because of the intensity of the heat building through the afternoon. And it's another very warm night. Temperatures in some parts, especially towards the southwest, not dropping below 20 Celsius. A stark contrast, though, across many parts of the UK on Wednesday. Now, for Scotland, for northeast England, we've got a lot of cloud rolling in from the North Sea and a cool breeze from the northeast, and that's going to really reduce those temperatures across the east and the southeast, 26 Celsius, with the heat becoming more confined towards the southwest, still 30 Celsius.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
What's the time? The time is 11:40. This is Britain's News on GB News with Andrew and Catherine.
Well, just to recap that breaking news, 4 people have been killed after a train collided with a school bus at a level crossing in the town of Bruggenhout in Belgium.
We understand the victims are 2 teenagers, the bus driver and another adult.
Yes, federal police said the collision took place shortly after 8 o'clock local time while the barriers of the level crossing were down. We will have the latest.
Now, Bridget Phillipson, who is the Education Secretary, she's also, of course, the Equalities Minister, has called on the Competition Watchdog to look into additional charges that parents experience when trying to access government-funded childcare.
Well, we're joined in the studio by parenting expert Annette Kello. Annette, thank you very much for braving the heat and the buses to come in to talk to us. What's the issue here? Because obviously there's been a massive expansion of free childcare, the Tory policy originally, but down to children from 9 months plus. Is it the case that the amount that the government is paying to childcare providers doesn't cover their costs? What's with these extra charges?
Yes, well, there's no such thing as a free lunch in this case because the government gives about £5.80 to £6.50 per child per setting, but the settings are saying it costs £7 to £10 to deliver it. So they're a bit short. They charge top-up fees, which of course they say are for snacks, nappies, that sort of things. But it's important to know these are optional. But what parents are finding if they say, well, actually, you know what, I want to bring my own snacks and stuff in, I don't want to pay these top-up fees, the nursery has to say, sorry, you can't come here. And then you have the conundrum of if you go to your local authority to question this, they're not really doing anything about it. But the other side of this is for a lot of small, independent nurseries. Now, we have some big franchise nurseries in this country, but they're not English-owned. So we have Bright Horizons, and last year they made about 200 million. They're American-owned, and they're on the American Stock Exchange. So the bigger question is, should we be paying, and there's more than one of these, should we be paying for these big franchises which cost the taxpayer $9 billion a year? And is that really fair? And a lot of people, like the Early Years Alliance, have said about Bridget Phillipson's coming after the watchdog, they've said it's a PR exercise. So that's another question.
So you don't think necessarily that Bridget Phillipson, that there's going to be a change? Because it sounds like the childcare providers need more money from the government in the first place?
That's another thing the Early Years Alliance have said. Actually, it's grossly underfunded, and maybe going after them and saying, stop charging top-up fees is just going to make them close. And that's actually what's been happening up and down the country. Many have said, you know what, inflation's gone up, the rents have gone up, the staffing costs have gone up. So it's just not making money. And then if parents say, I don't want to pay the top-up fees, it's a real problem for the parents and for the nurseries.
And they don't have to pay these top-up fees, presumably. They can say, no, we don't want your nappies, we don't want your sweets or your food.
No, we don't want to pay for the sun cream, thank you. And I mean, I actually, on a personal level, questioned, because I had this when my son went to nursery, and I said, is it OK if I don't pay them? And they said, no. And I went to my local authority and I said, they said I can't. And then they said, oh, well, do you really want your son to go to that nursery then if they're going to be like that? And I was like, that's not the point, you know. No. So I think it's a real problem, and maybe we should look at how other countries are doing it well. You know, if we look at France, for example, they have a sliding scale income that people, depending on their income, pay for the nursery that way. And actually children go to preschool a lot younger, which is in government schools. So perhaps that would be another way, because, you know, in London, a lot of schools are closing. And so perhaps we need to find another way to make this work.
All these schools are closing. Parents are not getting the access to the 30 hours they're entitled to.
Exactly. They're entitled to from 9 months. So they've changed it from, it used to be age 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, the problem is with that is some parents, you know, I don't want to go to the other end of the side, but some parents don't want to put their baby in a nursery at 9 months.
No, I get that.
And the other thing France does that's quite well is they give parents tax breaks. So perhaps instead of sending children straight into nursery, perhaps there could be another way around it for parents to stay at home a little bit longer.
Well, I stayed at home with mine for 15 years.
Did you?
Yeah.
I like your style.
15 years. I have to say, it wasn't really a choice. It was just because I was a failed actor and I couldn't pay the childcare. But anyway, I don't regret it. It was
never regret it.
But,
you probably you must have been successful at least once as an actor.
No, not really. Let's not go there.
Oh!
There is a very funny story about Catherine as an actor. I've forgotten it. You told me it last week.
I can't remember.
I need to hear about this.
We'll talk about this later. Anyway, no, Pele, thank you very much for coming in today. Where are we? So, Sarah Booker has sent in this great picture with the caption, these are my two currently, Ben and Rusty. They also have cooling mats to sleep on. My dog, Autumn, looks exactly like those. But I don't know what these cooling mats are, so I'm going to have to find out. Thank you so much for sending that picture in.
And talking of those dogs, which are, you know, whacked with the heat, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast.
Looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The heat wave continues across much of Central and Western Europe in particular. Lots of hot sunshine to come over the coming days. Temperatures close to 30 Celsius across the Canaries. Sunny spells here. Hot sunshine for Spain and Portugal. Perhaps 1 or 2 thunderstorms in the evening times. The risk of 1 or 2 showers. Southern parts of Italy across to Greece and into Turkey. But temperatures still on the hot side and staying hot over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
Will not want to miss. Now, after escaping North Korea twice and surviving years of hardship, he's now campaigning for human rights and speaking out on global freedom issues here in Britain. And tonight he shares his journey, the political response to North Korea, and why he believes that the West must not stay silent. Well, I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined in the studio by Secretariat UK, all-party parliamentary group and human rights activist Timothy Cho.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. Well, even at the reception, I was asked how did I escape from North Korea. And yes, I've been in the UK for 18 years now, but I escaped when I was 17, twice escaped. And I was imprisoned 4 times, 3 times in China, 1 time in North Korea. And especially experiencing that North Korean imprisonment. And this will continue in my eyes, how men and women being tortured and killed, and which I also treated terribly, and which I live with those scars inside and outside today. And I remember visiting Auschwitz last year, and I was sitting on my bed 3 days and remembering and what I saw there, exactly what I saw in North Korean prison cell.
So why were you escaping, first of all? What was it that was making you escape? Why did you need to go? Why was it so bad?
My parents first escaped, whom both of them were high school teachers in North Korea. So they escaped when I was turning age into 9 and 10.
They left you there?
Well, they just they didn't have other alternative choice. If they didn't make that choice, I think whole family could have taken into a prison camp.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Well, the former First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, as you know, is behind bars after admitting to taking £400,000 from the SNP.
Yes, Nicola Sturgeon, through her lawyers, has said, I want to reiterate that I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds.
Former SNP and Alba Party MP Neil Harvey joins us now.
Good morning.
Good morning. Do you think that the current First Minister, John Swinney, can survive this, given that I think he appointed Peter Murrell in the first place and that he was Deputy First Minister for many of the years where we now know that Peter Murrell was basically nicking SNP funds and spending them on things like salt and pepper grinders?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some very difficult questions for John Swinney to answer, not least the fact that he appointed Peter Murrell in the first place, but he was at the heart of the party throughout that period of time. He was Alex Salmond's finance minister or cabinet secretary, and he was the deputy first minister for Nicola Sturgeon for that period of time. And I've seen footage today of John speaking on camera, playing down the concerns about the party's finances. Now, these concerns were raised in good faith by many members, particularly Douglas Chapman, who was then an MP and the party treasurer, and he was denied access to the books. This was raised at the NEC, it was raised directly with Nicola, and I can't believe for a second that that didn't reach the ears of John Swinney. And then on top of that, another concerning issue is that Kirsten Oswald, who has now been recently elected as an MSP and appointed as a junior minister for victims of crime, no less, was part of the operation of the NEC, who played down and really tried to minimise the concerns that members rightly had about the missing supposedly ring-fenced independence fund. So there is, whilst I'm not in any way suggesting that they knew of the criminality, they certainly were responsible for the finances in the party.
I have to stop you there. Sorry, we've run out of time. That's it from Britain's Newsroom. Up next, good afternoon, Britain with Tom and Emily. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good afternoon. Yes, coming up, the government is very pleased with itself that they've deported 60,000 or so foreign criminals and people who have no right to be in this country. But what about those from Iran, Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan? Have we been able to send those criminals back?
And is social media as bad for you as smoking? Or frankly, what have these doctors been smoking? Well, we'll be on to all of that after your latest weather forecast. It's hot.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's going to be another very hot day for parts of England and Wales today. Most of the country seeing plenty of sunshine, and that heat may give way to a few thunderstorms later this afternoon. So out there, first thing this morning, we do have some cloud across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles of rain here. But for England and Wales, a sunny morning, and that's going to give way to another very warm, if not hot, afternoon to come, especially across the far south of the country. Could see highs again reaching 34 or 35 degrees. A very exceptional spell of heat for the time of year. A little bit fresher further north, so a bit more comfortable here with temperatures reaching the low 20s. Into this evening, as I mentioned, we could potentially just see a few thunderstorms break out, but I think most of us remaining dry across the south with some plenty of late evening sunshine, and a fairly quiet evening to come across Northern Ireland and Scotland too, although we could continue to see some cloud across eastern Scotland, and that may again just give the odd spit and spot of rain. Overnight, very little changes. The cloud across eastern Scotland will spread its way a little bit further south to encompass parts of northern England. But for most of us, it's a fairly quiet night. Under the clear skies, we may just see the odd fog patch form, but especially across the south, another very warm night to come. Quite uncomfortable to sleep for some of us, but a little bit fresher further north, so certainly a bit more comfortable to sleep across Scotland. Into Wednesday, we will see a change in the east on Wednesday, picking up a bit more of a breeze here, so temperatures certainly much lower here compared to recent days, and that may again trigger the odd shower. The cloud across eastern parts of Scotland and northern England will gradually work its way back towards the coastline as the day goes on, with the best of the sunshine out towards the western half of the UK. And it's here where we see the highest of the temperatures. Again, we could see low 30s across the southwest, but certainly a little bit fresher down towards the southeast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
£76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash could be yours this summer. That's totally tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. And remember, because it's totally tax-free cash, you'll get to keep every single penny. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.